I love hearing the sounds of the birds chirping. And there it is, kind of behind the trees, up at the peak of that hill in the distance, the destination for this hike. We are on our way. Hey everybody, it's your old pal Robert from thrillride.com. How you doing? So after enjoying the beauty of Mount Baldy and Lake Arrowhead, I thought it was time to revisit some more natural beauty that's very close to home. And of course, I'm talking about lovely Griffith Park, one of the greatest parks, municipal parks in the world, I think. And a place that I have not been to here in Griffith Park in forever is the Griffith Park Observatory. It's kind of the crown that sits on top of this amazing property. And I think I was here once when I was in the Boy Scouts, so it's been a decade or several. And you know, it's a gorgeous day, but thunderstorms are supposed to roll in later too, so I thought it might be kind of an interesting day to go check out the views up at the top of the hill and see what free exhibits are around, and just rediscover something that's another amazing free destination here in LA. So let's go take a look around. So as with so many places that are popular in Los Angeles, parking is a bit of a nightmare. They have paid parking up a little closer to the observatory. It's $10 an hour and it fills up really fast. You can park at the Greek Theater lot on days when there are no performances, which is free. That also fills up very fast, especially on a nice day. But there is a parking lot about a mile away that's free, and you can hike up. It's just about a mile again, and you know, as long as the rain isn't coming down, not a problem. I'm suddenly realizing the return trip could be a little awkward, but we'll deal with that when we have to deal with it. Yeah, see it up in the distance there. Yeah, this is it's a moderate hike. Definitely some grade to it, and yeah, obviously got a lot of elevation still to gain. So good workout. Feeling very virtuous. It is amazing how for the better part of the morning it was really gray, very overcast, and of course that burned off, and gosh, we get this unbelievably gorgeous sky, which I think is supposed to cloud up again around 1 o'clock. So see what happens, but man, good for a long hike up a hill right now. Oh, it is really kind of perfect right now. Again, just thinking about how different the trip back down may be. Oh, it's all part of the fun. Yeah, I'm definitely taking little breaks here and there. Very good workout today. And you can see some of that haze is still hanging on to the coast in the distance. I'm sure that's gonna remain for the rest of the day, but what a view. One or two more last big hill climbs and I think we're there. Man, I just love how these yellow flowers kind of line the entire trail. So pretty. So just before reaching the peak, there's a little fork in the trail that takes you to this kind of scenic overlook spot. Oh, stunning. Yeah, the real draw for coming out here today was to get it to the observatory, but man, just enjoying the hike itself. So great. And there's a look down at down back at the trail. Very hard to make out there, but in the haze in the distance, I believe that is downtown Culver City we're looking towards. Yeah. Although that's one of the cooler angel wing photo ops I've ever seen. That's neat. insane, I tell you. This view is insane. I love this kind of a monument out front, and I have a feeling it celebrates the planets in some way. Right, of course, this honors all the famous astronomers of the past. Galileo, 1564 to 1642. Copernicus, 1473 to 1543. Let's use around this side. Hipparchus. There's a name I don't know. 160 to 125 BC. Yeah, that is one big, beautiful, impressive building. And of course, now I'm forgetting what year it was built, but this goes back to the earlier part of the latter century. And you can just deduce that looking at the design, the typography. Oh yeah, stunning. Yeah, I saw a planetarium show here years ago as a fledgling Boy Scout. It's pretty great. I just forgot how beautiful the view was up here. Yeah, tons of trails to get up to and descend from the observatory, but yeah, let's take a look around at the, oh my gosh, the views. And I guess you can get up onto the roof too. Sweet. There we go, roof. Oh, you know what? Let's just head right up there. Oh yeah. I'm already prepared for gasps of awe and amazement. And again, that's the great thing about a long, kind of somewhat difficult hike. When you know the payoff at the top is worth it, you make the climb. And there we go. Oh yeah. Now maybe that's downtown Culver City. Yeah, even if you don't go inside the planetarium proper, it is so worth coming up here. Insane. And there it is in the distance. The world famous Hollywood sign. It certainly isn't a bad place to get a nice view of it. Now, you can't get as close to it as you used to. Back in the 80s, I was able to hike up and you could actually get right up to the sign. They don't let you do that anymore, which is kind of a shame. Or maybe not. Probably not a bad thing. But yeah, another bonus view. So this is pretty great. I guess you can go in and look through some of the telescopes up here. A little bit of a line to get in. And of course, you won't really be able to, or rather, won't be able to share that view, I don't think. But neat that you can do that. I love technical verbiage, you know, words that are specific to industries. This dome contains the triple beam coleostat. Coleostat, never heard of that word before, which reflects sunlight to the solar telescopes. Awesome. You can see on the map there, there's a lot to see here, and certainly not going to cover anywhere near the majority of it, but yeah, there's plenty to do. And I love that the one of the theaters is called the Leonard Nimoy Event Horizon Theater. That's beautiful. So again, you can enter and explore the planetarium for free. The shows are upcharges, but they're not that expensive. It's a pretty good deal. And look at this beautiful dome right in the atrium as we walk in. That's great. Well, how do you like that? I did not know that the name of the person responsible for creating this park was Griffith J. Griffith. Griffith Park is certainly well named. If all mankind could look through that telescope, it would change the world. Yes, indeed. Yeah, this is great. There's a little information panel about the generation of the park itself. A great city needs a great park. Colonel Griffith J. Griffith got rich through mining and real estate, and in return he decided to give something back to his adopted hometown of Los Angeles. Inspired by his travels in Europe, he declared that great cities need great parks, and he wanted Los Angeles to have the greatest one in the U.S. Amazing. And this is the big pendulum beneath the dome in the atrium. I love this. It's kind of hypnotic. Yeah, the architecture in here is so beautiful. Definitely has that early 20th century marble and metal grandiosity to it. Really cool. Yeah, and it is, it's packed today, so I think we're going to keep the visit inside a little light and come back another time to try to soak up all the exhibits. Oh yeah. This is the Celiostat Dome. And there is a live image of the sun. Intense. Following the sun, the coelostat? That word is an instrument that tracks the sun through the day. It brings sunlight directly into this building for you to observe. So cool. I love this chart over here that shows the relative sizes of some of these celestial bodies. Supergiants. Just the sound of that is so great. Yeah, you can see right there is our sun, which is 333,000 times the mass of the Earth. But compare that to a supergiant, Betelgeuse. I love it. 18 times the mass of the sun. Crazy. And whatever you do, don't say that name 3 times. Or do, actually, because we all want more Betelgeuse, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, this is a pretty cool exhibit. This sort of elemental chart has examples of each element represented in its little pen. Cool. Well, there you go. That's what potassium looks like. And right up there, one of my favorites, sodium. I just can't have too much of it. Oh, that's neat. It looks like you can, by pressing buttons, select individual groups of elements that are somehow related, and it illuminates just that group. I'm surmising that. I don't know, but it's some kind of interactive display, which is cool. Nice. I love these little miniature halls where you can learn about different celestial behaviors, eclipses, tides, moon phases. Oh, maybe this is all about our local solar system specifically. Yeah. Day and night, sun and star paths. As local celestial phenomenons go, eclipses are pretty amazing. The idea that there is a giant rock floating in space around our planet that on occasion moves in front of a much, much larger giant fusion reactor in deep space and darkens it. I mean, mind-blowing. Right outside the entrance to the main planetarium, they have this photo, different views of how Saturn and its rings appear from different angles. I find planets with these kind of horizontal rings to be kind of like the most artful celestial objects out there. They're so like beautifully symmetrical, and I mean they're just works of art. Wow, this is a pretty stunning photo. 4 Winds, taken by Jeff Mitchum in 2021. 4 Winds pays homage to the magic, whimsy, and allure of the City of Angels in a celebration of the shared experience of discovery and self-exploration fostered by Griffith Observatory. Nice. Yeah, to be up here and really catch a glorious sunset, that would be something to aim for. Yeah, and here is the observatory in one of the peak real estate locations in the city. The monumental sculpture called the Aztec Calendar Stone should really be called the Stones of the Fifth Sun. To the Aztec, it symbolized the age in which they lived, which was preceded by 4 other mystical ages. Each previous age ended in cataclysmic destruction. Cool. Well, this is one of the exhibits that I simply can't miss, the Gunther Depths of Space exhibit. I'm all about all the mysteries of deep space, and there's a hallway leading to it, which looks like a timeline of our universe. And it starts out with something called a cosmic connection, and takes us with the Big Bang forward. Unimaginably vast and continuously changing, the universe has been growing larger for nearly 14 billion years. We are connected to the origin of the universe by the sparkling ribbon of time that reaches from the Big Bang to today. When we observe what the universe is, understand what it is doing, and appreciate how long all of this has been going on. The beginning of time. The universe blossoms like a skyrocket in an incredibly hot explosion that expands both space and time. I don't know if you're all into Calvin and Hobbes. It's the greatest comic strip ever created. And when Calvin complains that scientists just didn't do the job right, Big Bang is so mundane, and it really should have been called the horrendous space kablooey. I agree.
Ooh, that looks like a quasar.
Wow, curtain of light, 400,000 years after the Big Bang. And the first candles in the darkness, 400 million years after the Big Bang. Pockets of gas molecules collapse to form cold, dark clouds. All right, there's our home galaxy, the Milky Way. 1 billion years after the Big Bang. Billions upon billions of galaxies form as the universe ages and expands. Our Milky Way galaxy is one of them. There we go. So, home galaxy been around for about 13 billion years. And threads and ribbons start forming. Dark matter is shaping clumps of gas, clusters of stars, and groups of galaxies into a cosmic web. And 1.4 billion years after the Big Bang, galaxy collisions are common in the early universe. Oh man, to be a witness to one of those, a galaxy collision. 9.1 billion years after the Big Bang, our solar system is born. The sun is part of a generation of stars that form in clouds of gas and dust in the Milky Way galaxy. Man, I love this stuff so much. Impacts call it an era. 9.9 billion years after the Big Bang, collisions are common in the early solar system as pieces of planet-building debris orbit the sun. These impacts help build worlds. The scars visible on the moon are from the last major collisions in this era of planet formation. They coincide with the production of the oldest rocks on Earth. Getting a life. 10.2 billion years after the Big Bang, life appears on Earth less than 1 billion years after our planet formed. The first organisms are tiny microbes that originated in the oceans. All right, we're less than 1 billion years out to today. Sweet. Hard bodies. 13.1 billion years after the Big Bang. About 3 billion years after life first appears on Earth, all animals still live in the sea. A rich and diverse population of hard-bodied creatures suddenly spreads to the oceans. Their shells will become early fossils. High-plains drifters. No, not Clint Eastwood. Life on Earth expands its habitat from the oceans to land. Some amphibians join insects and plants and adapt to life on dry land. Look at that, bright young stars. 13.63 billion years after the Big Bang. Stars continue to form in the Milky Way galaxy as new stars are born in clouds of gas and dust. The Orion Nebula is a cloud of gas and dust about 1,350 light years from Earth. It still cradles some of the youngest stars in the Milky Way galaxy. And then about 3.6 million years ago, one of our early cousins leaves a footprint in fresh volcanic ash near Laetoli, Tanzania. And speaking of footprints, 13.7 billion years after the Big Bang, a human leaves behind a footprint on the moon. Oh, mind-blowing. Oh, this is great. There's a whole downstairs gallery with scale models of all the planets. Yeah, Saturn, man. That's my favorite. This is kind of neat to have these little telescopes set up so you can look across the hall. That's the celestial objects painted on that mural on the opposite wall. Neat. So this wall has a whole exhibit row on meteorites and meteors, which are pretty cool. Rocks that have flown through space and landed on this little rock that we're onto. Earth is bombarded by a constant rain of debris from space, and most of it is fine dust that drifts down to the surface. Other pieces can be as small as a grain of sand or larger than a house. Wow, I thought this might have been like a piece of ore that fell out of the sky, but no, it is a piece of cosmic dust, a model. A cosmic dust grain magnified 20,000 times. Simulates the look of dust from a comet that formed near the orbit of Pluto 4.5 billion years ago. Yeah, my brain can't process that. All right, yeah, those look like actual meteors or meteorites that were part of a shower that fell in Mexico. Sweet. Well, there you go. Everything has a story, including meteorites. And they're pretty cool stories. Asteroids are made of some of the oldest materials in the solar system. Asteroids formed more than 4.5 billion years ago out of the same rocky materials as the planets. And it looks like they categorize them into 3 different types. There are stony meteorites, stony iron, and then pure iron meteorites. Huh. There's also something that is new to me today. Sweet. So this is a 269-pound iron meteorite and a fragment that came from more than 30 tons of meteorites found at the Barrington Meteor Crater in Arizona. That's a lot of rock. Now here's an exhibit that gives one pause, all about meteorite impacts. And there's a little kind of simulator where we can try out the impacts of different sized objects colliding with Earth. And yeah, those don't always end so well. Yeah. I love this map of meteorite finds throughout California, and yeah, we got quite a few. And here are some of the space rocks that have been recovered on our territory. Neat, got a meteorite from Mars. Oh, wow. There's one from Sutter's Mill. I imagine scooped up with some of the first gold found out there. Okay, A+ to the exhibit writer who came up with meteor right and meteor wrong. That is a really good question. How do meteorite hunters know where to look for their quarry? Although countless meteorites fall to Earth each year, finding them is tricky. They land everywhere. But if they plunge into the ocean or drop into forests or fields, they're probably lost forever. Best meteorite hunting grounds are places where these rocks stand out against a landscape. Deserts, frozen fields, and dry lake beds. Interesting. That makes sense. The depths of space. Space exploration transformed our understanding of the cosmos and our place in it. As we learned more about the sky, our horizons broadened. Our observing tools have extended our vision out to the stars, to the earliest galaxies, and back to nearly the beginning of time. Now we can clearly see our place in the universe, and we can feel at home in the cosmos. Here's a little cosmic zoom out from our local position out into Los Angeles, which is a pretty big city. But that is just one big city of many on planet Earth. And of course, planet Earth is just 1 or 8 of 9 planets, depending on who you're asking, a Pluto fan or not, in our local solar system. And then we are in the local galactic cluster, the Milky Way galaxy. And of course, you get out to the universe itself. And thanks to massive telescopes and space-borne observatories, we have a tantalizing peek into the physical nature of the universe. It contains countless billions of galaxies, all arranged in a vast web-like structure. This intricate pattern of galaxy distribution formed about 400,000 years after the Big Bang. The infant universe is expanding and cooling as gravity shaped its matter into stars and galaxies. The expansion continues, and most objects in the universe are still moving away from each other as they evolve. Okay. All right, remember where we parked, everybody. So here is some sort of a representation of the Milky Way galaxy. I don't know if this is going to show, but there's an interactive panel here. You press a button, and a red beam comes on, a little laser beam, hits the panel where Earth is relative to the center of the Milky Way, and it's pretty tiny, and it is pretty far away from that center. It's off to the left. When you try to truly comprehend the scale of the universe as we understand it right now, your brain just wants to explode. So this Virgo cluster is just one of I don't know how many clusters that make up the universe, and within it is this kind of panel or rectangular section they call the big picture. And then within that is a galaxy called M78, and it's more massive than the Milky Way. Like, brain hurts. Okay, now this is all coming together. So this gigantic mural here on this wall is the big picture. And this is just one slice of the universe that we can visualize here. So yeah, you kind of hold all that in your head. That's a lot of stars. So this sculpture of Albert Einstein, a person who has really helped us understand the universe, he is looking up at the sky and he's holding his finger up. And the amount of sky obscured by his finger is equivalent to the big picture that is on the wall here. So that is a sense of scale relative to a human finger. And then what it says here is that it would take 1,357 big pictures to cover the whole sky. That's a lot of sky. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I really do appreciate that in this hall of our solar system planets. They include Pluto and beyond. Now, I'm not keeping up with the current classifications. So, at one point, Pluto was considered a planet, and then it was declassified as a planet, and then maybe it's been reclassified. You know what? I'm going to start at the outer end. Let's see what it says, because you know, once you call a planet, I say it gets to keep that title for the duration. Frontier worlds. Frigid Pluto lies in the solar system's outer reaches. It orbits far from the sun along with its companion Charon. Neat. And look at that. You could fit 170 Plutos inside Earth. That's pretty cool. We once thought Pluto and Charon were the most distant outposts of the solar system, but we now know they are among the largest members of a vast population of icy worlds called a Kuiper belt. Awesome. And here's a detail about Neptune I did not know. Its stormy methane weather hosts the fastest winds in the solar system. Crazy. Yeah, that's got to be a tough place to land. I'll leave the low-hanging fruit on the tree with this one. There we go. Particles of ice form a complex set of rings that circle the gas giant Saturn. This is hard to believe. Those are ice particles that make up those titanically huge structures. The planet belches clouds of ammonia ice crystals from deep within its atmosphere. Oh, wild, wild, wild. See, there it is. They call it the jewel of the solar system. Few places in the solar system look more beautiful and mysterious than Saturn. Its glittering rings dazzle the eyes. Indeed they do. There's a name of one of Saturn's moons I've never heard of before. Iapetus? Iapetus. Anyway, one side of Saturn's icy moon, Iapetus, is bright and cratered. The other has something dark and red smeared across its frigid landscape. This mysterious coating might be the result of methane erupting from beneath the surface. And of course, in Jupiter, just because of its sheer scale, also kind of fascinating. A gas giant and the largest world in our solar system. High-speed winds shape its cloud layers and send huge swirling windstorms racing across the planet. Yeah, this whole thing about the that kind of giant eye of the storm that's perpetually there. And whenever we're in a pretty heavy rainstorm here, I just try to imagine what the storms on Jupiter must be like in comparison. It is hard to, or it's easy to forget rather, how tiny little Mars is compared to some of the other bigger planets, but the fact that it is our nearest neighbor, and you know, plans are afoot to send people to that very planet, and you know that may happen. It's very likely to happen within my lifetime. It's going to be quite a day. Yeah, I was old enough to watch the original Apollo moon landings on television, and that was made quite an impression on my young mind. And to think that we will watch some kind of spacecraft with humans on board landing on this planet, yikes! It's so. I mean, it's moving. It's just incredible to think we will start the leap out of our solar system. Well, of course, Earth, the home planet, gets a bit more of a whole kind of information center. Oh, love this, the Zeiss Mark IV planetarium projector. Wow, this is what was in use from 1964 to 2002. It's such a cool looking machine. Looks like some weird spacecraft. Well, this is something that is very pertinent to every Californian, especially Southern Californians. Yep, seismographs and understanding what it means when the Earth moves, because we live with that all the time, and there's gonna be some big Earth movement in the future of the state, that's for sure. I was asked recently if I could go into space tomorrow, cost aside, but risk involved, would I do it? And you know, I gotta say, I think I would. My last sight would be gazing out over Earth from space, I'd take that. That would be a nice end. Well, that's too bad. Normally they have a live feed from the space station's external high-definition camera, but I guess the signal has been lost temporarily. Yeah, that is something we are learning more and more about all the time. Earth is not a static, finished piece. It is constantly changing and evolving. I had a good friend many, many years ago. She was an avid scuba diver, and she did the whole Ring of Fire tour. It took a year and traveled around the world diving along what apparently is the best diving ever. Yeah, from what I understand about Venus, that it's not that far away, but it's probably inhospitable and not something we're ever going to really survive for too long on. Volcanic Venus is a place of crushing atmospheric pressure and broiling heat, one we cannot visit in person. Well, there you go. Its desolate surface is hidden from our view by a blanket of clouds. And of course, then you got the planet closest to the sun, Mercury. Rocky world gets hotter than an oven and colder than a freezer. Its desolate surface is heavily cratered and split by cracks. Yeah, that's also another place I don't think we're going to be set foot on anytime soon. Yeah, they're very much including Pluto as a planet. So it's definitely part of the Kuiper Belt objects, but yeah, it's on the list officially. Awesome. Well, I was wondering what this sphere was. Looked kind of like a landmine, but it is Tomorrow's Past, a tricentennial time capsule. Sampling of Los Angeles lifestyle from 1976 for the citizens of 2076. Cool. Oh, brilliant. The capsule was a propellant tank used in the Mariner 71 Earth to Mars program. Awesome. So I just noticed this out in front on the kind of promenade leading up to the entrance of the planetarium. Little kind of schematic of our solar system. So you get the sun here, and the orbit of Mercury and Venus, and then Earth, and then Mars. But then we start getting some pretty big jumps out. So we head towards some of the larger planets. There's Jupiter, and way out to Saturn. And we really got to hoof it to get all the way out here to Uranus. Yeah. Look at how far we've come from the sun. And we're still not at the Kuiper Belt in Pluto. So we have to get around to the other side of the Astronomer's Monument to get to the orbit of Neptune. And we are still not all the way out here to the orbit of Pluto. Yeah, that gives you some sense of the scale of how far away our last planet really is from the sun and our orbit. Yeah, look at that. We are out here. Well, I may dodge a bullet on the rain. So far, so good. It's staying pretty hazy, but yeah, the sun is still shining. It's still plenty warm. All right, I think that is going to bring this one to a close. So, as always, thank you so much for coming along, and hope you really enjoyed this visit to the Griffith Park Observatory and the trip up the hill. And yeah, it's such a great resource here in Southern California. Again, the bulk of the exhibits are free, and if you don't mind taking a little walk, parking is free. And they do have a cafe up here. You can get some food. It's kind of buffet style, not super cheap, but you know, when you need a snack, it's there, which is great. But yeah, what an amazing resource here in Southern California. So privileged to have it so close by. All right, take care, and we will catch you in the next one. Well, as one would assume, yeah, the hike back down, so much easier. Very, very easy hike, because it's all downhill pretty much. But I can tell in the rain or in any kind of muddy conditions, this would be really a nightmare. So very glad the rain has held off. Oh, I love hearing them birdies sing.